Let me start recording here. Welcome everyone. Thursday night, 6:30, September 17th. Thanks for joining. Today we're talking about solar panels. It's funny because it's 6:30 and whenever we do these late workshops, I'm like looking at my calendar and I'm like, okay, I'm thinking about food. Okay, what am I going to be able to eat tonight and what time? And I'm looking at 6:30. I'm like, man, 6:30, I got to work until, I've been here since 7. I got to work till 7:30. But then I start thinking, but once we actually start, that's when I get excited. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, let's get to learning. So today we're going to be learning about solar panels. And I like this topic. And believe it or not, guys, I've been in real estate 18 years. And my whole goal is to learn something new every day. With solar panel, I've listened to Diego Santoyo, our co-host today, our main speaker. I've heard him talk before about solar panels, and it's crazy because I learn something every single time. And even if and it's the same stuff that he's teaching, more than anything, I understand it better every single time. Where before I was like, kind of like, cloudy on my understanding on solar panel and energy and how it works. Every single time it's like, okay, I get it better now, and I feel better, more comfortable around it. And I think that's the whole goal with anything that you do, whether it's buy real estate, buying solar panels, buying cars. The more comfortable you feel with the subject, what you're doing, the easier it is to make decisions and decisions that are going to help and benefit you. So thank you everyone for joining. I know it's dinner time, so that means a lot to us. So Diego Santoyo, I've known him for several years. I used to know where he lived, so he would, definitely. I think that's how the great service started. Is he knew I knew where he lived, but other joking aside, he has always been a very great resource for us. Whenever we get into contract to buy a home with a client, we always add that, and that home has solar panel. Whichever company it is, and he'll go into it, there's hundreds of solar panel companies that you could choose from, but whichever company it is, we always send him the purchase agreement and or the lease agreement of those solar panels. And we say, hey, Diego, can you tell us and our clients if this is a good deal or a bad deal based on the home, the type of panels, the type of contract? And he's always, very straightforward. He goes, yeah, you know what, great deal, move forward, purchase the property. Or he goes, hey man, I think, this deal's a little bit too expensive. I think they got overcharged, but here's the information, you do whatever you want with it. So he's always been very fair, open and honest with us. So let me have you take it over now, Diego, and introduce yourself. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Voltaire. Hey, good evening, everyone. Again, I'm Diego Santoyo. Voltaire, thank you for having me over again and for hosting this tonight. And I'm going to make your time worth it, all right? I got some new information, some new topics we're going to cover today, and the overall basics for the newcomers so they understand more how solar works and the implications. Having said that, let's get this started. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, so please let me know if this works. And
perfect, we can see it. Yeah, it looks good.
There we go. All right, perfect. Again, everyone, I'm Diego Santoyo. I'm a solar representative with Sunrun here in San Diego. A little bit about me. I've been in the solar industry for 5 years now. I've been with this company, Sunrun, for coming to 3 years exactly. I'm a solar specialist, meaning the only thing I do is I go to people properties, I recommend solar for residential purposes. That's all we do. No commercial, just residential. So what we're going to be discussing today is, first of all, a little bit more about Sunrun, my company, and then we're going to get into things that you should know before you invest into solar systems. First, is your home a good candidate? That's going to be the main thing, the first thing always, right? It doesn't work out every time. You're going to make sure your home qualifies and that you are a good candidate to make it work. We're going to talk about owning your system versus doing a leasing agreement or a power purchase. Very different programs, different outcomes. Also, we're going to talk about battery storage. That's the new thing in solar. You want to get a battery backup in case of a blackout situation. We're going to discuss that more. And finally, we're going to talk about the California Public Utility Commission Consumer Protection Guide. As Voltaire said, there's a lot of companies out there. There's hundreds of companies out there. You want to make sure you know who you're dealing with and what kind of agreement you're signing. California just created this new guide for everyone out there. You can download it today, read it. It's going to give you a bunch of information on what solar is and what questions to ask people like me, consultants. That's great information. I'll give you some information at the end. Once we're done with the presentation, I'll open it for any questions. Please use me as much as you can. I'm going to be here to help you out. All right?
Yeah, and something I just want to add to that is, you guys, I know how solar works or any presentation works is you're going to have questions, you're going to wait till the end to ask, and then you might forget. So if you think that might happen, just type it into the chat box. Okay, we have a chat box, type it in there, and then we'll get to that question and answer it for you.
Definitely. I'll make sure to answer every question. I'm just going to leave it at the end so we can have the full presentation in case you need to go have dinner and so on. Having said that, a bit about Sunrun, the company I represent. Sunrun, we are the biggest company here in San Diego and nationally. The only thing that we do is residential systems and battery storage as well. We are in 23 states and Puerto Rico. And as I said, I've been with the company for 3 years. We have over 300,000 installations. And I myself, I have helped almost 200 companies, 200 families here in San Diego in these 3 years. You might have heard about us. We work for Costco and Home Depot. So if you shop in those stores, chances are you might have seen my coworkers or myself wearing those blue polos inside. Anyhow, let's get into the solar home, how to qualify your home. So what makes a home a good candidate for solar, right? First, you gotta own the property. If you're gonna invest, you gotta own this property. Then what we're gonna be looking for is the material on your roof. Do you have composition shingles? Do you have clay tiles that might crack if you install solar? We don't wanna deal with those, right? You don't wanna deal with leaks either. You wanna make sure that your property has a good roof. Remember, when you do a solar installation, there's maybe a lot of perforations, a lot of drilling. You want to make sure that everything is in good shape in order to install the system. Also, shade. If you have a lot of palm trees around, might not work out for you. We don't want to get too much shade on the roof because otherwise your system is not producing enough and you're going to end up overpaying for solar. That's something your consultant, someone, once you speak with someone, get a full consultation or go on the internet, they're gonna qualify your home, but that's gonna be very important to understand first because you don't wanna overpay for solar. If you have too much shade, you're gonna end up overpaying. Also, your electricity bill should be over $80 a month. And we gotta remember here in San Diego, we have gas and electric, SDG&E. You gotta separate what you're paying for gas and paying for electricity, 2 different bills. If you're paying over 80, chances are you can save money with solar and it's gonna be a good investment. Also, if you have discounts like care or medical baseline discounts, it might not make a lot of sense because SDG&E is already giving you a big chunk of discount on your account. I would say those are the main things that you wanna watch out for once you're deciding if solar makes sense to you. The roof, it's in good shape, what kind of material it is, shade around the property, your energy bill around 80, and if you have any distance with SDG&E. All right.
Hey, now, Diego, have you ever had a tenant call you trying to install solar? Because I don't think, I didn't think you had to put, you must own the place.
You wouldn't imagine. I mean, tenants still pay their electricity bills, right? They use air conditioning. So yeah, we get a lot of calls all the time from people that don't own the property that have heard about these leasing agreements where you don't pay anything for solar, which is true, right? But if you don't own it, we can help you. And it's not gonna make sense for you.
Got it. Okay, yeah. Cool. We just lost half our audience. I hear you.
Once you get your property, it's gonna make a lot of sense. All right. going back, moving forward, there's basically two different ways you can get solar for your property. You can either own the solar system or you can do a leasing agreement called a power purchase agreement here in California. Very different programs. If you own the system, that's going to add value to your property. That's something you own. That you're going to get an investment on, you're going to get a return on your investment. Makes a lot of sense if you're going to stay long-term on your property. Also, the government can help you with a federal tax credit. Meaning, when you buy a solar system, let's say right now, 2020, you're going to get a 26% tax credit valued at the system cost. That's going to reduce your income tax liability. It's going to help you save money on taxes. That's the biggest incentive out there. That's why a lot of people buy solar systems, because it's cheaper at the end with this government incentive. If you own the system, you control the electricity, it's predictable, you don't depend on SDG&E. And the best thing of all, no more electricity bills. You don't pay anyone. You don't pay the solar company, you don't pay SDG&E anymore. You control your electricity. On the other hand, we have leasing agreements or power purchase agreements. The great thing about leasing is there is no upfront cost. You basically have your solar company install the system and you buy electricity from the solar company at a cheaper rate. So that's more about immediate savings, lowering your bill, saving money right away without worrying about investing money or getting a loan. Also, most leasing companies are going to offer you a performance guarantee and a full maintenance package. So if anything breaks down, you can always count on the company to repair the system at no cost. Very different programs. One is about investing money and getting a good return long-term, which is ownership. And the other one is going to be leasing, which is immediate savings. I know that's a bit confusing, but I have prepared a little graph that I like to use. That is going to show you here how that's going to work money-wise. Let's say that you want to buy a solar system and it's going to cost you $15,000. Now, that can vary, right? Solar systems can be as cheap as $9,000 or as expensive as $60,000, depending on your energy usage. But let's say you invest in buying a solar system and it costs you $15,000. It's going to take you roughly 6 years to get your money back because now you're not paying electricity. So the first 6 years, you're in the red. Once you break even, you're going to be saving a lot of money because now you don't pay electricity to SDG&E. And the lifetime on any system, it's going to be at least 25 years, 25 to 40 years. So from year 6, all you're doing is saving money from your bill, saving. It's a long-term investment, but it's going to pay for itself. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah, so right now all you're going over is the owning part of it, the first option, right?
Correct. That's you owning
cool.
the system from day one. That's an investment.
So this is 15,000, and it doesn't matter whether you pay cash or you take a loan on it, right? Or can you take a loan on it?
You can take a loan on it, yes. And then if you want to prepay it, cool. Depending on the loan provider, right? On the other hand,
okay, cool.
On the other hand, you have leasing agreements, which basically they are gonna give you savings from day one because you're not investing into your system. You're just getting a solar company to install the solar system, and you're paying a lower electricity bill. So from day one, you save money. However, in the long term, you're not gonna save as much money doing a lease compared to buying your system. It's gonna, for the first 10 years, if you're gonna stay in your property for at least 10 years, it makes more sense to get the lease, right? Because you're gonna save more money on those 10 years. However, if you're planning on staying in your property, this is an investment for you, you wanna rent the property maybe later and get a better new property, it's gonna make way more sense to own your system. Because in the long term, you're gonna be saving more money. It's all about long-term savings once you install your solar system and purchase it outright or get a loan. Leasing is just going to be monthly savings from day one, but you're going to be paying an electricity bill for the next 25, 30, 40 years with your leasing agreement. Those would be the main two differences.
So basically with the lease, you start off with the lease, you start right there with zero. So you don't pay nothing out of pocket. You just start saving your monthly payment. And that's probably why a lot of people choose that, right? Because it doesn't cost them anything. Compared to a purchase, you either spend $15,000 out of pocket or some money out of pocket, and then you finance the rest. And then now, I'm sure with this option, I'm sure you. I remember your presentations in the past where I start asking all these questions, and then they're like 2-3 slides ahead, so I won't even ask those questions. So I think we get it. I think there's a lease right here, zero out of pocket. You have some savings through year 10 or 12, I think you said, and then the purchase, you just spend some money up front, and then you start to get the money back over here in the future.
Correct. So my point here is, if you ever decide to get solar, if you decided solar makes sense for you, you gotta decide if you want to do an investment, buying the system, or doing a leasing agreement. Ask yourself, how long do you see yourself in this property, right? If you move around a lot, maybe a leasing agreement is gonna make more sense. If you wanna hold on to the property and you wanna invest in it, buying is gonna make way more sense in the long term. Now, also with your solar system, you can get a battery backup. This is kind of like the new thing in solar, where you can add a battery storage in case that we have blackout, there's rolling brownouts, and I don't know if you follow the news, but there's been a lot of those here in Southern California. With all the wildfires, a lot of people in East County are being affected. So you can have a battery backup for your system that is going to give you electricity for roughly 12 to 20 hours on your property on a single charge. So if you are in an area that might get a lot of blackouts like East County, I would say investing in getting a battery is going to make a lot of sense. Also, right now, there's an incentive from the government called the Self-Generation Incentive Program. We have had this for a while now, where they help you pay for your batteries. They subsidize 30, 50% of the cost. But now they came out with this new program where if you live in a fire threat zone like East County and some of other areas in San Diego, and you qualify, meaning that either you are low income, you have medical equipment on your property, or you have a water well on your property, California will pay for 2 batteries for your property at no cost.
Wow.
Yes, and they're going to install it through Sunrun. Every battery, which are the Tesla Powerwalls, I don't know if you've seen the ads, great batteries, look super clean, super good. Every battery, if you want to purchase it, it's $12,000, almost the worth of the solar system alone. This is a great program because, again, if you qualify, it's completely free. California pays for the equipment for you and the installation cost. Why? Because we're going to be having more and more rolling blackouts. Our infrastructure, our grid, our energy grid, it's old. We always have wildfires, and there's people being affected by it. So California wants to create this virtual battery grid where everyone has a battery in their property for use later on. They just started the program this month.
Yeah, that's awesome news. I think you should explain why you even need a battery, because I didn't understand how solar worked, and maybe some people on the call. So the solar panels on your roof, they're on your roof, you would think that you get all this energy and then you just use it any time of the day or night, and you don't need a battery. So can you explain how that works?
Good question. Yeah. So the thing is, your solar system, a regular solar system, it's not going to work when there's a blackout. If the grid with SDG&E goes down, you're not going to have power on your property either, even if the sun is shining. The reason is every single solar system in California and most states are interconnected to the grid with SDG&E. They don't want your solar system to be sending energy back because that can be dangerous in a blackout. Since we have linemen working on the working outside, the transformers can catch on fire, etc. So every single solar system is going to shut down if there's a blackout. That's how traditionally a solar system is going to work out. Now with batteries, if there's a blackout, you'll just get energy from your battery. It's going to work as a generator. That's why California is giving a lot of incentives for these solar batteries.
Oh, okay, so just let me I'm clear on it. So if you have a battery, do you need, like at night when the sun isn't shining, you get to draw energy from that battery so you don't have to pay SDG&E, or is that not accurate?
That's not going to be the case either, or battery or no battery. What you're doing with your solar system is you're creating energy during the day. All that energy, you're going to use it on your property, and whatever you don't use, you're going to sell it back to SDG&E. So you remain connected to the grid. SDG&E is going to pay you for this excess electricity. Then at night, when the solar system shuts down, you're in a way buying energy again from SDG&E, but using the credits that you made throughout the day. In a way, you're telling SDG&E, hey, SDG&E, I have excess electricity that I'm not using right now. Here you go. They're going to pay you, and then you use that money to buy energy at night. In a nutshell, that's how it works. It's a bit more complicated than that, but it's a trade-off. You're selling energy, and then you're buying at night. That doesn't have to do anything with blackouts. That's just the regular day-to-day of a solar system.
Oh, okay, I get it now. Thank you.
Definitely. And for blackouts, as I said, a regular solar system is going to shut down. That's why California, specifically, it's incentivizing people to get these batteries at no cost. I would say if you live on East County, you have a pretty good chance of qualifying for this program, and you can get those 2 batteries completely for free. Any other questions here with the batteries?
Not for me. Do you want to take a question from somebody if they have it, or do you want to wait till then?
I'd rather take the question on the battery just because I'm going to jump to a new topic here, and that might be confusing. But anyone has a question regarding the batteries?
I do, Diego. Yeah. This is Benny.
Hey, Benny.
So we have solar here at the house, but I don't think it's through Sunrun. We do not have a battery. I tried to reach out to the company, and they referred me to like a third party who does batteries alone. Does your company a la carte a battery? Like, can I use you guys for a battery, or do my solar have to be with Sunrun?
No, we can add the battery alone. Most of the batteries can work with any solar system, not with all of them. So we do a full site survey on your property. We inspect the solar system that you have, and then we can let you know if we can install the battery added to your system, basically. But let me ask you, where are you located in San Diego?
In San Diego, in Linda Vista Central.
In Linda Vista Central, got it. I mean, I would check out this program, Benny, just to see if you might qualify. There's a lot of other different qualifications that I'm not talking about here because it would take.
Yeah, could you elaborate on the medical baseline and what that would go or cover?
So medical baseline, it's a special discount that you can get through SDG&E if you have any medical equipment on your property, such as CPAP machines and so on. If you have that discount, you might be qualified to get those free batteries. Now, that would be on your bill. And as I said, you need to have medical equipment on your property to qualify for that specific program.
Okay, understood.
But there are other qualificators that I can take that one-to-one if you want, whenever you have time. And I'll send you the application, see if you qualify. And if you do, great, you can get those 2 batteries for free. No promises, obviously. It's a limited funded program. But so far, we have been getting luck. I have 5 customers installing their batteries next month.
Nice. So let's say if I didn't qualify, what would the battery run us?
There's 2 different kinds of batteries. I mean, you can get a battery as cheap as $5,000 or as expensive as $24,000, depending on what your requirements are.
Got it. Understood. Thank you.
Yeah, and if you have more specific questions, I can take those one-to-one after the call, or I'll leave my information here, because every system, every home is a bit different.
What's your typical lifespan on your batteries?
Batteries have a warranty of 10 years. That's the warranty on them. Can they last longer? Yes, but they're measuring cycles, right? Like any other battery. So most likely it's just gonna be 10 years.
Hey, Diego, you're in a blackout? I was just kidding.
I know, right? I gotta get my lights on.
Diego needs a battery, man. You need a battery, solar panels. Hey, I need to sell you something.
Yeah. Once I get my property, yes.
Hey, Diego, quick question.
Yeah.
So how many panels? Let's just say like a family of 4 or 5. They want to get a solar panel, either lease or purchase. Do you guys check like do you guys do like an average usage for the past 12 months, or is it based on the number of family members?
It's gonna be more on your electricity consumption, right? Every family, every home consumes different amounts of electricity. It's kind of hard to say right now. It's not a cookie cutter process. It's based on your electricity consumption. But if you want more information again on those questions, I can help you one-to-one whenever you have time. But it's gonna vary.
Cool, thanks, man.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions with batteries?
Do you service Boulevard, just east of Alpine?
You are with SDG&E, right? That's still SDG&E.
Yes.
Is that correct? Yeah, we do.
Thank you.
And I believe that's a fire threat district. So again, depending on the qualifications, you might qualify for that battery incentive. If you want more information, just let me know later and I can help you. All right, I'm gonna move forward here unless anyone has other questions with batteries. All right. So again, California has this new consumer protection guide. I would advise anyone pursuing solar, before talking to any company, get this guide. You can get it from Google, you can get it from the internet, and give it a read. It's gonna give you a bunch of good information. It's going to talk about how solar works, what is net energy metering, which is what was explaining before. You're selling energy, how SDG&E interacts with your solar system. And most importantly, it's going to give you some very good pointers on what to ask your solar provider. What are the things you want to watch out for, right? And some of those things are, do they have a license? Do they have a valid license number, right? Are they just an electric company? Are they general contractors? What kind of licensing do they have? Do they subcontract the work? Are you working with a broker? Who is the people installing the work, right? Because if you get any issues with your solar system, if you have leaks on the roof because they didn't do a good job, who are you gonna call? Who is the people responsible? You don't wanna be with a company that is subcontracting around all the work. Also, what is the total cost of your system? And I'm talking about taxes, interest rate. If it's a leasing agreement, what are the monthly payments? Are they gonna escalate? Are they gonna stay the same? Are there any other fees if you don't use auto payments or things like that? And then any other home upgrades needed, right? Some companies might tell you it's gonna cost you $10,000 right now, and then later they're gonna charge you $20,000 because they wanna upsell other projects. Those are great things that you can see on the guide. I would recommend anyone look up for that guide if you're pursuing solar. It's going to give you a lot of good information. And also, what happens if you sell your home, right? A lot of different programs out there. Besides leasing and purchasing the system, there are hero programs, there are PACE programs attached to your property. You want to know those questions before, you want to know the answer to those questions before you sign on any agreement. I would say get that guide, just type on the internet CPUC Solar Guide or California Solar Guide, and you can download the document.
Cool. Yeah, I think this is super important just because the reason why you're even here today and we do these solar workshops from time to time is because I figured out there's a huge problem. Maybe like 5 years ago, maybe a little bit longer, I was showing people houses for sale, and I noticed that some people had energy efficient upgrades to their homes, solar, windows, and the prices they're asking for the home was just way too much. So then I asked why, and guess what? They got a really bad deal with solar, energy efficient windows and things of that nature. And literally they couldn't sell their home because of the type of product that they had that was attached to their property taxes. So I think this consumer guide CPUC is super important. And I think if, those, and I ran across several sellers like that wanted to sell, but they just couldn't because of the agreements they signed with their solar companies. So I thought it was just like a big scam, and that's when I started. Oh, hey, you're back. I thought that was a big scam, and it's like, hey, we need to educate ourselves before you start to get into these types of contracts. So yeah, thanks for going over.
Yes, and specifically, California came out with this guide because, as Voltaire said, people don't know what they were signing for, right? It looks good when they tell you it's zero down, you're gonna start saving money right away, but sometimes they don't go through the fine print. So now California came up with this guide that everyone has to review before going solar. That's a requirement for any company now. And it's gonna make you ask the right questions, right? Especially it is your property. It's one of the biggest investments you're gonna do in your lifetime. Make sure your energy, it's a wise investment as well. And I would say use that guide to your advantage, definitely. That's pretty much what I wanted to present, guys. I wanted to open it up for any other general questions that I can help you with at the moment.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, let's go straight to the question. So guys, this is where you ask whatever you need to ask to see if, I know solar is a confusing topic. I mean, at least for me it was. So ask away. Okay, so Lee,
hello?
Go ahead.
Hi, thanks for hosting this. The question is, if if you have a roof that is a little bit older and you are expected to probably change the roof within the next 7 to 10 years, let's say, for instance, how does that work with planning the purchase of a solar system?
Definitely good question. So most companies are going to offer you an extended roof warranty, meaning that if you install the solar system, they're going to give you X amount of years on the roof that if you have any issues, they cover any of the costs. 7 to 10 years, you might get away with doing solar and having a company giving you 20, 25 years on the roof, and you can keep that warranty because once you install the system, first of all, you're not going to see the roof. The roof doesn't degrade as much because you don't get direct sunlight, and your solar company is providing for your roof, which is the most important thing. So I would say pursue solar, get quotes, see what companies can offer you for the quality of your roof, because solar companies are going to be very honest with it. They don't want to absorb the liability on a roof that it's already degrading, cracking, having leaks. It's recommended that you get a new roof once you get your solar system, right? Because you don't want to touch that roof for 20, 25 years. But it really depends on the warranties that you're going to get through your company. And at 7 to 10 years, I don't want to tell you, you got to wait 7 to 10 years to invest in solar, because I don't know what the costs are going to be in 7 to 10 years. I would say it depends on what the company offers you as a warranty for their roof. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, great question, Lee. So just to recap that so I could follow. If you have 7 to 10 years left, get some solar companies to go out to your property. They'll give you free bids, and then they'll tell you, yeah, not a problem. We could warranty this roof. Or they'll tell you, hey, look, it's too damaged. We don't want to install, and we won't warranty this roof.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for asking that question. All right, any other questions from people? I have one in case.
Hey, Voltaire.
No one else has. Go ahead, Ozzy.
A question. Do you? And this might be more like on the real estate side. Have you encountered like a situation where you list a property for sale, and then the owners have a lease solar system in which either the monthly payment is like it's ridiculously high. Like I'm talking about like 175, 180. Do you think that can affect the value on the resale?
Yeah, it's definitely going to affect the value on the resale if they got a bad deal, especially if it's tied to their property taxes. I mean, I've seen people have bills or loans against the property that are over like $40,000 to $50,000, and a buyer, you know, if the problem is a lot of buyers don't understand. A lot of agents don't understand. So they go into these deals and they're just like, okay, yeah, you know, we're paying X amount of dollars a month. They just look at that, but they don't look how much the principal balance is and how much if they go to someone on their own, let's say a Sunrun or someone else, to get a quote on their solar system. That solar system might be a $25,000 solar system, but they just paid, you know, 40 to 50,000 for it. So it is going to affect your property if you overpaid for a solar system and the type of product that you have. So I have experienced that on the buyer side. On the seller side, whenever I represent a seller, I've had my clients have, you know, leases that the buyer had to take over. And to me, it's kind of like mind-blowing that the buyers kind of just say, okay, and they don't even ask no questions, you know, they don't even have to see the contract. We have to send it to them on our own. But that should be an important part of the purchasing procedure, is reviewing the contract and seeing really what you're getting yourself into.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah, my pleasure. And correct me if I'm wrong, Diego, but it's okay for us to reach out to you from time to time and just say, hey, you know, we're looking to buy this property. Can you review the solar agreement and tell us, you know, if we're getting a decent deal or we're getting ripped off?
Anytime. You know, I've done it. Send me the information. I'll tell you what it is, right? I'm not going to tell you if you should do it or not. It's just, these are the facts. This is what you're paying. This is what it should be. And I'll just give my professional opinion. Because we got to remember, like, at the end of the day, if you have a solar system, even if it's leased, you're not paying for electricity. You're not paying SDG&E. So most likely you are saving money, but you don't want to overpay if it's too big of a solar system for your family, right? Those are the things you want to watch out. What's the price and what's the agreement like? And yeah, anytime I can help you with those.
Yeah, and just like you just mentioned, so solar system, they're not all cookie cutters. So if you have, you know, a 2-bedroom, 900 square foot home, there is a possibility that a solar company could oversell you on the number of panels that you actually need and everything, right? So, you know, be careful of that. I have a question. So if there's, let's say, a 3-unit property that someone's buying, and let's say there's two roofs, meaning two different buildings, 3 units total, and the owner says, you know, they're buying, they're going to live in there, and the owner says, I want some solar. Does that mean that you're going to install solar to cover enough energy for all 3 units? How does that work?
Good question. Not necessarily. Every system is going to be tied to one SDG&E meter, right? So depending on how many meters they have, if it's a meter for the full property and you take care of the bill, or if it's 3 meters for 1 meter for every unit, that would mean you would need 1 solar system per unit. There's just 1 solar system type per SDG&E meter.
Wow. Okay. So that means that you said, like, what did you say, that the average system is like 15 grand, or what was the average price per system?
Here in San Diego City and like the Chula Vista area, yes, maybe around 15,000 before any tax incentives.
So if there's 3 electrical meters, and that means that there's 3 solar panels, and then you only get, if you purchase them, you only get the tax credit incentive on one of them?
No, you can claim on all of them.
On all of them. Okay, cool. And then if there's 2 electrical SDG&E accounts, then there's basically 2 solar systems that you can purchase. You don't have to purchase both. You could just purchase one if you want, right? Just for the main house, wherever you're going to live in, and then the tenants just take care of themselves.
Yeah. Or something that I've seen some other customers do is, takes a while, I don't recommend it, but you can merge the SDG&E meters through SDG&E. Instead of having 3, you can solidify all the meters to 1 meter for the full lot, and then you can only purchase 1 solar system, right? It's going to be a bigger system because now it's 3 families, but it's going to save you some money.
It'll save you some money. Okay, cool. And then the follow-up question to that is, if you're buying multiple units and you plan on living in one, rent out the other 2 units, and you plan on living there for only 2 years, not the full 7 years or 6 years that you recommend, if to purchase, if you can live there for that long or that much time or longer. So what if it's less time? You're only going to stay there for 2 years, but you're going to keep the property forever because you have multiple units. It's paying for itself, so you're going to keep the property forever. So is that still a situation where you would just say, yeah, purchase over lease?
If you're going to keep the property, yes, I would say purchase over lease. What I mean, you got to stay in the property 5-7 years. I meant you got to keep the property, right? If you're going to rent the property, you're going to, all those solar payments or all that investment, you're just going to put it towards the rent of the property, and then it's going to make you money because your tenants are not paying for electricity anymore. And they're going to basically be paying you for your solar system. And remember, once you pay off your solar system, if you pay cash from day one, or you get a loan and you pay it in 5-8 years, that's going to add value to your property once you resell it.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for answering that. All right. Does anyone have any questions? You can unmute yourself, ask Diego.
I do. Why
we have him. Go ahead, Benny.
Okay, Diego. So my question would be, I don't know how a solar panel operates, but I'm just wondering if there's new technology and more potential for solar to be even better, because like for our phones, for instance, every year it's getting better and better. And if we're in a lease or buying a solar, we're in it for 10 to 20 years. Do you see there's a lot of growth and potential that the technology on the solar will be better in the near future, or what's going on with that?
Good question. And my answer is always going to be no. There's not a lot of room and improvement for solar panels, for the solar panels. We've reached an efficiency rate right now where it's cheap to produce them. Solar panels are rather cheap. The equipment is cheap. What we got to remember that is expensive is actually labor, right? Especially here in California. Labor always adjusts with inflation. So any construction project just tends to be more expensive over time. And as far as quality on the product itself, you're not going to see big improvement. The only thing that is evolving right now where I can tell you, yes, you'll see better technology in the coming years, is going to be on batteries, just because those are the new products. That's where everyone is focusing on. Solar panels itself, not so much.
Yeah, I think I get the battery part. Just like Benny, you said, our phones. Our phones today have a lot more juice than our phones 10 years ago. We had to recharge them every so often. So that makes sense.
Yeah. Does that answer the question, Benny?
Yeah, that does, because I'm not educated on how our solar panel works and just if it's based on technology or what growth or room there is. But it looks like you're saying that we reach capacity and the only growth right now is in the battery, which from not knowing anything, that helps a lot.
Yeah, I mean, yes, exactly. You got it exactly right. We got to remember solar panels have been out there for more than 50 years now. So about 7 years ago, that's when we have that big breakthrough where we made solar cheap for everyone. Now it's just choosing the right contractor, making sure you're not overpaying for solar, and that batteries are the thing that are going to keep evolving. That I do believe.
Hey, Diego, I have a question. Have you seen an increase? Have you seen an increase in people getting solar during COVID due to like the home office and kids doing their school at home?
Yeah, good question. And the answer is going to be yes. I mean, more people are, including me, right? We're all spending more time at home. We're using the air conditioning. Electricity is more expensive. So yeah, most of my conversations with customers nowadays or people that I meet through Costco, Home Depot is, hey, I'm working from home. I'm probably going to stay working at home because I built my office already. I'm spending more electricity. All that electricity cost that your employer, your office had, now it's putting it towards you because you're the one charging your computer, using lights more, using the Wi-Fi more, and that's a cost that you're incurring. So yeah, a lot of my conversations go around that way. It's a good question.
All right. Good. Yeah, good question. I didn't even think about that. But it makes sense. Cool. Awesome. Any questions? Oh, go ahead, Diego.
Oh, I was going to say, and people are looking for more space, right? Bigger homes. People realize San Diego, California, the big outdoors, when we don't have them, we're going to be stuck inside home, right? We need more space. So I don't know about you, Voltaire, but I've had conversations with customers, friends. Everyone wants to upgrade to a bigger apartment if they can, buy a bigger property, etc., because we realize we need that space home.
Yeah, well, hey, man, I need to have more of those conversations because that's what we do. We upgrade people to bigger homes. So,
you can send me the links, Diego.
Ozzy asking for the leads, and there you go. Cool. Well, hey everyone, if anyone has a question, it's the time to ask it. But I'm just gonna thank Diego now for his time. I know it's late, it's dinner time. I know you're trying to save the electricity. We force you to turn on the electricity at night.
Yeah.
You remind me of my mom. Hey, whenever I go to my mom's house, it's super hot, and I'm trying to turn on the AC, and she don't let me. And I'm just like, come on, really? So you remind me of her, man, just saving electricity all the way. You got candles on right now. Hey,
it's the Mexican in me, I'll tell you that.
There you go. All right, awesome. Hey, everyone, thank you for joining. Thanks for participating. I hope everyone learned a lot. Nos vemos. Till next time.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thanks. See ya.
Thank you.
Take care. All right. Let me end this here.